What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your host, Realtalk Shouted. You're now tuned into another video. Thank you for coming back and joining the channel. Today's video, we're going to speak about the Judases in our family. That's right. The Judases, because you know, every one of us have a Judas in our family.
And that's the bottom line. You know why?
Yes, I do.
You're damn right, because Stone Cold said so.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Oh no!
It's the bottom line, not the bottom lines.
But sometimes I like to say more than one.
And if you don't know who Judas is or what that term or name is describing, it's basically an individual who presents themselves as someone who has your best interest. However, behind closed doors, they have an ulterior motive, which is ultimately to destroy you.
Shut your stupid.
Now, in the story of Judas and Christ in the Bible, it speaks about how Judas was one of the 12 disciples. And during a moment within the Last Supper, they were eating, and Christ the Messiah basically made a statement to all the disciples and said,
Boy, if you don't...
one of you are going to betray me. And everybody at the table was looking like,
What?
looking around at everybody like, is it you? Is it you? Is it me? Who's it going to be? But Christ knew that it was going to be one of them, and he knew exactly who it was. And to sum that story up, what we have to realize is that the Most High doesn't make any mistakes. So when Christ made the statement of knowing that the people that were sitting at his table, everyone that was sitting there didn't have his best interest at heart, we have to realize that God does not make mistakes. So if the Most High created Judas and he allowed Judas to be a part of the 12 disciples to follow and to learn from the Messiah himself, then everything happens for a reason. And ultimately, God ultimately gets the glory in the end. And so the Most High utilized Judas's intentions to destroy Christ to ultimately free the world. And that is exactly what the Most High's plans are for you involving the Judas in your life. So do not give your energy away to negative frequencies. And also, do not stoop down to their level, because the only way for the enemy to attack you is they have to bring you down to their level so that y'all are on equal and level playing fields. But if you stay vibrating high and above them and remain in your frequency, they can't come near you. But the Most High will allow them to test you. And those tests are only there to make you a stronger individual. Now, another thing that I would like to highlight in today's video really quick is your mission. Stay mission focused. Because imagine if Christ would have just sat there and just dwelt on the fact that he is feeding an enemy. He is allowing someone that doesn't have his best interest to sit at the same table as him and to sup with him and the other 12 disciples, basically the family. See, we can't dwell on negativity, because that is what the enemy desires for us to dwell on all day long, because where your attention goes is what grows. Wherever your attention goes, grows. So you don't want to be focused all day for too long on a negative thought. No longer than 7 seconds, you need to switch your thought immediately and start thinking of something more positive, because what happens is that we start to emit those negative frequencies from our thoughts. So once we change our thought patterns, now all of a sudden our positive frequencies are starting to emit from our positive thoughts. So stay focused on your mission, okay? Now, the main goal is to be light as a feather. Now, something else that the story of Judas and the Messiah taught me was to always be light as a feather. Now, what does that mean? Imagine when Christ finally got apprehended from the Roman soldiers who were called on him from Judas himself because he sold Christ out for 30 shekels of silver. Christ did not take offense to Judas. He actually replied to Judas and said, this was a part of God's plan. This was a part of the Father's will, because this had to happen. And in order for God's will to be completed, you had to betray me. You had to do something to show your true colors. And so by doing that, Christ remained light as a feather because he realized that this wasn't something that was against him. Judas had a problem with the Most High because Judas was jealous of Christ and envious of his position and the influence that the Most High had gave Christ. So because the Most High chose Christ to carry out the mission of being the Savior and the Messiah, to lead his people out of eternal damnation, Judas was mad at God himself. Therefore, he felt like if he could get Christ out the way, then he could be the new Christ, or he could represent Christ and the fulfillment of what he thought the revelation was supposed to be about. But that was another test from God, because we're never supposed to take things personal. Because when you take things personal, now all of a sudden you have a heavy heart. And when your heart becomes heavy, you're not able to penetrate that atmosphere and get into where you're supposed to get into, which is the kingdom of the Most High. So you'll come right back down. Why? Because your heart is heavier than a feather. You won't be able to penetrate and to get into those heavenly realms. So always remain light as a feather. And with that being said, family, I don't want to make this video too long. I just had those things on my mind and I had those written down, and I felt like just recording this video really quick. And with that being said, thank you for coming back and joining the channel. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Hit the like button, hit the share button, feel free to subscribe, and be on the lookout for our next video. Once again, it's been your host, Real Talk Shouted. I'm gonna get at y'all next time. Shalom.